Welcome back, everyone. I hope you guys are having a absolutely fantastic day today. I am. I just got back from a 5-hour shopping spree. Always love it. Got to put in the work here in a few hours. But today, first, we're going to talk about how to continue to grow that business. Each and every episode, we're going to talk about that. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about incomplete and missing items, broken items, stuff like that. And is it really worth it to go ahead and sell it? Okay. So my answer to you on that is yes. You need to be selling incomplete, broken items, just items for parts, some stuff that might just be missing from the item in general, right? So I want to get into talk about that a little bit today because it was something that happened to me a few days ago. I actually sold a puzzle. I'll put it up here. Now, I didn't sell it for a lot, right? I sold it for like $11, $12.99. It was a Star Wars puzzle. Okay. It was missing like 4 or 5 pieces, and I did go in and count every single piece, and I was so upset when we were missing a few because I could have gotten, probably like $20 to $30, maybe more. I can't remember how much it was complete, but it still would have been a good buy. And this came in a lot, so I did not purchase this individually. I bought like 5 or 6 puzzles together, and I didn't count beforehand. I was at a pawn shop, and they said $1 a piece on the puzzles, so I took them home. So even at $1 a piece with those missing, I still made money, right? So that's just a little example. Obviously, I'm not going to buy a puzzle that I know is incomplete and go and sell it. But that's just kind of an example of stuff that has missing pieces, missing parts does sell. So I want to get into board games as well. So when you're out at Goodwill, okay, and I like to use Goodwill as an example a lot because I'm always at Goodwill. So when you're out at Goodwill and you don't know if there's pieces, all the pieces are in the board game, right? So if the board game goes for $20, $30, $40, you really have to look at it. Is it a newer board game that a lot of people have? Pieces are readily available. You can sell the pieces very quickly, and they're cheap though. So what's your competition looking like? Are you going to sell that one piece for $5? Are you going to sell that one piece for $10? Are you going to sell a bundle of pieces? So think of like Monopoly, for example. If you're looking at a Monopoly token, right? So maybe you get like a special edition, let's say Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Monopoly, right? So you get it for $5, $6 at Goodwill, and it doesn't have all the pieces, okay? It's missing some cards, it's missing a lot of money, and it's missing a few tokens. But it comes with, say, 3 of the tokens, right? You can still sell those tokens because Monopoly tokens go for a lot of money. People collect Monopoly. I know someone who actually does. So people collect Monopoly, and they want those tokens. Maybe they just want the tokens for the regular game, or they just collect them. Whatever it may be. You guys know things sell. If you sell on eBay, you know weird and unusual things sell. And I feel like Monopoly tokens aren't really that weird. It's kind of just like an action figure, but just a little statue token thing. So that's something you guys need to look out for is when you're out and there's some board games there, something that might be worth piecing out and selling individually if they're not there. Definitely look at that. Now, you obviously don't want to spend $10, $15, $20 on something that's going to be incomplete and you're not going to be able to make your money back. Always do your due diligence. Look at the competition you have. Look at other people's postings, how much they're selling for, all that good stuff. But definitely take a look at board games and if they're missing pieces. So next thing I want to move on to is action figures. So action figure accessories, to be exact, I think are something that's very important that a lot of people don't look at. And I don't do either as much just because I don't see action figures, or at least loose action figures, very, very often. But if you do and you see maybe like some guns or maybe just a vest, some clothing, anything like that might go with an action figure. Now, it's going to be very hard to know what you're looking for and kind of figure out what it goes with. But if you're very knowledgeable with action figures, or you want to become knowledgeable, or maybe you will in the future, definitely take a look at those because people love to build custom figures, right? So if they're going to go ahead, they might take an action figure they have, strip it down, and completely redo it with parts from other characters, right? They might just make a character that maybe doesn't have an action figure, then maybe they want to make one of themselves, or maybe they just want to make one for like their D&D campaign or something like that. So people make customs all the time, and they need other parts and pieces to do it. And I know a lot of people that actually do it on Instagram. I have an Instagram. It'll be down below if you guys want to follow it. I know a lot of people on there that actually take pieces from other action figures and then make their own pieces, and he sells them for like 30, 40, 50 bucks, and he only does like a short run. He might make 10 or 15, and he makes good money on it, guys. So make sure to see if you can find parts, guns, all that good stuff for small and large action figures. It can definitely be lucrative if you can find them. Next up, I want to talk about, what should we go into? Let's go into clothing. Now, this is something that I don't pick up very often, but I think it's something that could be It could be worth a lot of money if you can find them, and that is like logos and patches and stuff like that that might already be like on clothing, or that you can put on clothing. You can like iron on stuff, sewing on stuff. I've seen a lot of jackets, as I'm pretty sure you guys have, that have patches on them and stuff like that. So individual patches, logos, just stuff that shows the brand really. And I'm not sure how much of a market there is for this. Like I said, I don't sell clothing very often, but I feel like it's something you could definitely look out for. Not much to touch on there. I know when you're at like maybe a thrift store, you'll find like a tub of like yarn and patches and logos and stuff like that. They have a lot of those, so definitely take a look through there if you can find some older ones, some military patches, stuff like that. Military stuff obviously goes for a lot of money. So just because it's not on the clothing itself, if you can find it separately, definitely take a look at that and try and look it up. Always try and look it up. Next up, outdoor stuff. When I was thinking about ideas for this video, fishing stuff came to mind because when I'm out, there's fishing stuff everywhere, right? If you're at like a garage sales or flea market, I can think of it. If you're at garage sales or flea market, there's fishing stuff everywhere, right? Okay, you might not know how much a fishing pole is worth, but if you can get a fishing pole and all the lures and the tackle box and the rod and the reel together, that goes for pretty good money, especially if they're older stuff. A lot of that stuff you can individually piece out, because you might think, hey, I'm not going to be able to sell a giant rod, okay, or maybe it doesn't like bend and you can't take it apart or whatever, or maybe you just don't want to sell something like that. Whatever the case may be, you can definitely get the lures, the tackle box, everything like that. If there's any bait and hooks and all that stuff, you can sell it as a bundle deal. We talked about in the last video, guys, about bundling. It is something good to do if you can get a nice amount of stuff to do it, like I said. So just take a look at that video. I'll put it up here if you want to watch it. But definitely pick up some vintage lures if you can. Those go for a lot, but definitely take a look at fishing and more outdoor stuff as well. Next up, we're going to take a look at electronics. Okay, so this is something that I have done myself plenty of times. When something doesn't work, like maybe say a VCR, I've never broken down a VCR and taken out like the tapes in them. I can't think of the conveyor belt things. I can't think of what they're called right now, but basically I've never done that. I've never taken them out and tried to sell them, because it's really just not worth my time to break everything open and try and sell them, even if I'm making like a $3 or $4 or $5, right? So VCRs I wouldn't necessarily break down, but if it comes with a remote and you can't sell the VCR and it's broken, sell the remote, right? Remotes, VCR remotes, DVD remotes, Blu-ray remotes, whatever. Remotes go for a lot of money, guys. You can get them really anywhere from like $10 up to $30, $40. So I actually just sold one for like $26. I'll put it up here. Whenever I talk about something I sold, I'll put it up and show you guys. But I just sold a remote. I just found it at Goodwill, $2. Looked it up. It was worth money. So definitely take a look at remotes and other electronics that might be broken. You might be able to go in and maybe like take the speaker out of something. I've seen people do that. Maybe like the front plate of a old, I don't know, cassette player or something like that. Maybe an old speaker, anything like that. People still do buy that. People buy the cases. People buy the bolts, the nuts, everything that like pretty much hold it together. People do buy them because they want to piece it together and like basically restore their own. And that's something you need to look at, is make sure it's something that the full unit, if the full unit is selling for like $70 or higher, I would say you could definitely break down the parts and pieces and try and sell them. And now if it's really under that, maybe 50 or higher, but if it's below $50, you might be just getting scraps there, which is totally fine. If you want to like destroy the entire machine and get every single penny out of it, you can make some good money. It's just a lot of time and effort that I just don't have time for. Dealing with eBay and Amazon, I really don't have time to sit down and break stuff apart and try and sell it like that. But if there is an obvious part in it, I will definitely open it up, take it out, and make that quick cash. So one more thing I want to touch on is like power cables, power adapters, AC adapters, all that good stuff. So when you're out thrifting, you're going to find just random cords, random cables sitting around. Make sure to look them up if it's a brand, maybe like Kodak or Canon, something that needs like that goes to a camera, maybe rechargeable batteries to a camera, stuff like that. The other day I was at a thrift store and I found a Apple charger. I'll put it up here. I haven't sold it yet. I've gotten a few offers pretty low, about like $50. I'm gonna try and hold out a little longer. If it doesn't sell in a month, I'll drop the price. But an Apple charger for $85. I got it for like $3 or $4. Now, obviously, Apple is a good brand, and it goes to a monitor, a display monitor, so it's going to be pretty pricey, right? I found other like $10 to $15 AC adapters that I'll try and pick up if the price is right. Most of the time they're just $1. So if you pick something up and it's like $10 and you want to sell it for $1, we went over this in the DVD video. It's possible, but if you're gonna do it, make sure it's something that sells very quickly. Make sure if you're kind of on the fence, like, hey, do I want to make that $5? Check the sold listings, see if a lot of them are selling. If there's only like 2 or 3 selling, just leave it there. It's really not worth it unless you want it to sit and you have like a bucket you want to put everything in. That's up to you, but that's not a route that I would go. So I think that's really everything I've got written down here, guys. It's pretty much just make sure to look out for parts, pieces, broken things, and other pretty much accessories that can go with other items. Like I said, remotes for like VCRs and Blu-rays and DVD players and stuff like that. Maybe there's like 2 mini speakers or something like that, and one of the speakers is missing. Maybe the speakers together are worth $40. You can sell one of the speakers for $20. So don't always just count out an item because there is a missing piece or a part, or maybe if it's even broken. Definitely see if the price of the item as a whole, or as a bundle, not as a bundle, but like as a whole, if it is working and everything's good with it, everything's there. If it's high enough, you will be able to sell the parts. And even at sometimes there are already parts on there and they are being sold. So just make sure to look at that, see if you guys can't find anything like that. Hopefully this will help you when you're outsourcing and you don't just leave a really good item that you might be able to sell, but you really just don't know if it's worth it to sell the parts and pieces and do all that. So let me know if you guys have ever found anything like that. If you guys sell them on a regular basis, just let me know down below. I always love to have conversations with you guys. So if you have anything to say, just comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that thumbs up button. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Keep growing that business and have a fantastic day.